All right, another installment of the Simon Chardiet Show. And this is a request from one of my watchers. They asked, things have changed now. So I'm going to do that. Now, this is going to be 3 bits on musicians that are no longer with us. And this is the great Zon Data, also known as Dean Rocco, from Hemlock Street between Fulton in Atlantic, East New York, and this is the first song I ever heard from him. Thinking of the things I got from you, thinking of this day so few. Sometimes I wish I knew that I knew that you've been telling me that it's not the same as then. You don't wanna see me again. Maybe someday I don't know when. Now there's something that I should say. Is this your way of telling me that things have changed now? Oh boy, yeah. Things have changed now. What time is thinking of the things I bought for you, thinking of the night I bought you. Seems most times that I saw you, anywhere I go, but you just weren't there. I constantly, I swear, you just don't care, but there's something that I just see. Please don't push it away. Don't tell me that things have changed now. Oh boy, yeah. Things have changed now. What time am I thinking of the time I spent with you, thinking of those days so few. Sometimes I guess I knew you. I knew that you were telling me that it's not the same as then. You don't wanna see me again. Or maybe someday you don't know when. There's something that I should say. Cause it's the same way of telling me that things have changed now. Oh boy, yeah. Things have changed now. What a time of life. Things have changed now. Oh boy, yeah. Things have changed now. What a time of life. Things have changed now. Things have changed now. Things have changed now. All right, that's things have changed now. Now I want to mention this is the Simon Chardier channel. Go on my YouTube channel, which you're on right now, and look down, and you'll find literally like hundreds of songs from Simon and the Bar Sinisters, Joey Miserable and the Worms, Live at Nightingales. Yo, that's the real stuff. Mwah. Uh, and the Poptones Incorporated. You'll find the other installations of this show. And okay, Poptones Incorporated. It was, I know it was warm out. It might have been the spring or the summer or fall, 1978. I was like 19. I was playing in a wedding band, that was based out of the south side of Brooklyn, your Back Beach, Bensonhurst area around there. And I was like 19, and I was like, what the hell do I do with my life? I'm tired of playing all this hippie stuff. It kind of burned out, like about the best bands that were still around. Johnny Winter was still really good. Hot Tuna was kind of fizzling out. I just didn't know what to do with myself. Uh, and then I had to put a tuxedo on and go play like Copacabana. At the Copacabana. And play like Russo's on the Bay and Bayswater Jewish Center and Colonial Mansion on Bath Avenue, and you know, uh, playing on Frank Sinatra songs and stuff. I was like, what the hell am I gonna do with myself musically? I'm lost. I'm just kind of drifting. And I went out to audition for this southern rock band, and it was in East New York. It was Jamaica Avenue and Cypress Hill Street, right where the train makes that big turn. So at that point, I was living in the back of my dad's doctor's office on 94th Street on the Upper West Side, 94th Street West End. So I took the train all the way out to East New York to audition, and they wouldn't even let me try out for the band because they said I didn't have a Les Paul and a Marshall. The guy said you have to have a Sunburst Les Paul and a 100-watt Marshall. And I was like, they wouldn't even let me try out for the band. They were really snooty to me too. And they were just your typical kind of Charlie Daniels, Marshall Tucker, Allman Brothers, like, two drummers, like whipping post kind of stuff. So, like all these old geezers on the guitar forum still worship that stuff. And I still appreciate the guitar work of Duane Allman. I think he's great, but I just had that music rammed down my throat so bad, and it's like, So anyway, they wouldn't even let me, so I'm completely dejected. I'm walking out of this place, with my Fender Deluxe Reverb and my hollow-bodied Gibson guitar that they snooted, they rolled their noses up at me. And I see these guys coming down the street. Now, they had like this hair that looked like you put like a spaghetti strain over your hair, and you cut like all the like tufts of hair coming out, and black leather jackets. Now, when I was a kid, I spent a lot of time living with my grandparents, and my grandfather was the dentist in a mentally insane institution in upstate New York. And I used to live with my grandparents a bunch, so the people in the mentally insane, the inmates, they had this haircut because they had to hold them down and just kind of cut their hair, so it was like this bowl haircut with the shit sticking out. And and then back then with the black leather jackets, that was big in the gay scene back then. And so I was like, man, who are these three mentally insane gay guys coming down the street? They were headed right for me. And the guy had a guitar case. So he was like, hey, man, nice amp. I was like, well, thank you. What's your name? He goes, my name's Zon Data. I said, my name's Simon. He goes, what were you doing? I said, well, I came out here to try out for this band. And they wouldn't let me try out for them because I didn't have a Marshall. And the guy's like, Marshalls suck. Fender amps are the best. I have a Fender amp. So he opened the guitar case, and he had like a Gibson Melody Maker. And he was like, you can come play with us. And we walked down under the L a little bit to like Eldred's Lane and Jamaica Avenue under the L. We went into this basement and we played, and they were a punk rock band, Poptones Incorporated, hence the leather jackets and everything. And I had always been kind of skeptical about punk rock because I thought it was like this Truman Capote, Jackie Onassis, artsy fartsy Soho Village Voice kind of fucking like for for smart people or whatever. So I was skeptical of it, but I just, once I played with those guys, I was like, holy shit. So right then and there, they took me in. I joined the punks, and been one ever since, because the punks took me right in. They were like, come on, come here, come with us. The hippies were all always like, well, you don't have the best weed, and you didn't go on the Dead tour, and you don't have like the best, and you can't play frisbee. So the punks took me right in, because I was a terrible hippie. I was a terrible. How can you be into that peace and love shit when people are constantly trying to jump you and rob you, and you gotta fight back? What kind of peace and love is that? You know, that ain't peace and love. So anyhow, but peace and love to all of you. That's my punk rock story about how I became a punk. I got like just kind of scooped up into it, and I wish that Zahn had lived longer. And now we're missing also the great Tom Price from Poptones and FF at 2 minutes 8. And we're missing the great Dean DeRocco. Zahn died way, 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 way too young. It's a tragic figure. Italian kid from East New York, tough as fucking nails, man. Um, Not only was he a great songwriter, but if you got jumped on the street, he's one of the guys on my top list of people I would want to have my back. All right, so there's the whole story. Installment 2 coming right up will be Dick Dale. Okay, stay tuned, kids. Love ya.